What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and the subject matter that we're about to discuss is not a laughing matter, so I'm not doing an intro. I will say we will start off with something a little light to begin with. Some might say light, some might say disgusting. Everybody knows that Usher has been doing the cherry thing, but Drew Sidora took it to another level, and Usher's face said it all. So I know that people get their moment. Everybody has been doing it. Ruby Rose just took it to a whole nother level and was making out with her homegirl in front of Usher. And the face that he gave her was definitely different than the face he gave Drew Sidora. That does not look like he was interested. That looks like he was confused by what was going on with the cherry. And we'll just leave it at that. I don't know, Drew. I don't really mind Drew. I don't know. It's a good PR moment, but we'll just leave it at that.
That was not expected.
Now let's move on to something serious. Karen Huger's DUI arrest was released. Some might say leaked. I've been hearing all kinds of conspiracy theories about it. Oftentimes, especially if a person is saying, they want this stuff thrown out, you'll see it released. It's also public record. So for the people who feel like Karen's arrest record, should not be out there, it is. Karen tried really hard initially to get it thrown out of court so that it wouldn't be admissible, but it is. So I don't find this a laughing matter. I saw a lot of people in the comments who did. This is serious. This woman was clearly very, very intoxicated, and somebody could have got hurt. Let me make sure you guys can hear it, though.
Not do a lot of talking at this point, anyhow, because she's probably a little bit upset after the thing. So she's.
Can I ask you where you're coming from tonight, ma'am?
She said she was coming from a friend's house.
Okay. Which way were you driving on Oakland?
Were you having?
Were you coming from Bradley?
You having?
I'll take a look.
Yes.
You're coming from Bradley?
Oh, wait. So you see it? Yeah.
She's clearly she is definitely intoxicated. And it seems as if her husband is accustomed to this type of behavior. She's relying on him, not directly answering the police officers and allowing her husband to speak for her.
Thank you.
You were driving on Bradley or from Bradley? Do you remember the accident?
Old dude is a ride or die because he gives her a full alibi.
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
Actually, nothing really. Breaking me.
Yeah, it's just that somebody ran you off the road.
They did.
Someone ran you off the road? Okay.
Yeah.
You remember that vehicle at all?
No.
No, you don't? Okay.
Wait.
You don't. I understand. It's dark out here. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Let me ask you.
He's okay. He's still looking for your license.
No, Ray, we don't need him to do anything.
Karen, hold it.
Karen.
I'm looking for your license, baby.
How much you drink tonight?
I'll give you my license if you
No,
want.
I was out, but I'm good.
How much you had to drink? That's my question.
See if your license is in here.
As soon as we catch fire.
Not yet.
Bowles probably already put one on. He's right. Bowles is working on the acre report, so it's probably on there. If not, just have him at it.
Make sure he doesn't have it already.
I think Bowles does.
Somebody have the license?
I think so.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think Bowles, one of my.
All right, I'll check.
Can you answer everything
Okay,
for me
okay.
first?
Right.
No, that were two. Karen, how much you
No,
drink
I
tonight?
can talk to my husband.
Okay, can I talk
to my
with?
husband.
She just told the man, her husband, answer everything for me. Karen thought she was done with this. Now, this is Karen's second DUI. So she has a really ravenous fan base. And what I'm starting to see is if you have a fan base, they will bend like a pretzel. The comments under this post are mostly conspiracy theories about why this would be released and not Justin Timberlake's, as opposed to this woman who definitely could have afforded an Uber is on her second DUI and could have really hurt herself and or somebody else. They don't seem to really hold Karen accountable. You know, we don't know. I don't like people diagnosing her. Nobody can say she's an alcoholic just because she's had 2 DUIs. That's fine. But it is somewhat strange to me to think that people are defending this behavior or looking for an out, as opposed to saying if she's not an alcoholic, she should probably just seek help.
Yeah.
I can't talk to your husband. He's not really involved in
Okay.
this incident.
Right.
He can help me translate or get you
No,
to
he
cooperate.
is. He is.
Okay.
He is. You're okay.
How much you drink tonight? How much alcohol?
Ray, are you good?
I'm good. I'm just saying, you know, they're assuming that you had more than you should have,
Good.
and I'm assuming that you had like a couple of beers or something
Yes,
like
that's
that.
all I had.
But
Okay.
you know,
You had a couple of beers.
So, that's it.
Every
Very
time
nice.
I would
Gave her the alibi. I will say that this is what family does do for you. I mean, Ray has definitely done this before. Ray is her ride or die. I guess they do have an institution, like she says. But then more footage got released. Make sure you guys can hear it.
All I need you to do is listen. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Could you not?
You want to sign this form saying you refuse to submit to an alcohol concentration test?
Tell me what that means.
That you're not going to provide a sample of your breath.
And then how long do I have to stay?
Stay. We're probably talking about another 25, 30 minutes.
I don't.
Sign that.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's fine.
Your
Do
point
is
is
listen.
what? No, what you need to do is tell me what. No, there's such fucking irritant. Poor white. Just let that go. You must listen. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I will rise up. I am who I am. So what do you want to ask me? Can we? I don't get. Do you run that by people?
I'm not asking
Do you run that by people?
Karen, I'm not
No,
asking
I'm
you.
really rich, and
I
I will
don't- I
stay
don't-
in jail for a year or two because you just run that by people.
I couldn't make it out. I thought she said because I'm really rich.
What?
Poor white, black, green people. You run that by people?
It has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, it does. It has everything. So
it
what's
actually
your
has
point?
zero to do with that. I don't
So
get to make
I'm
how
sorry.
this happens.
All right, it's not you. I'm sorry. I'm extremely
Computer's gonna
intelligent.
read you
I
that.
am Thomas Jefferson's concubine,
The computer's
and I
going to continue reading that
have
form.
It's hard to make out what she's saying, but I think she just said she's Thomas Jefferson's concubine.
All I
They
need-
should no, there's such fucking irritant. Poor white.
Not necessarily.
What's your name?
My name's Kyle.
I'm Karen. Thank you. They call me the Grandon.
The Grandon.
I don't know what that's about. Andy Cohen did that. Go ahead.
The what?
Andy Cohen.
Now, this part was extremely sad to me. So even in this kind of like inebriated state, she's talking to the police officer about her time on Bravo. I don't know if that was a means to relate to him. I don't know. We never know. But thank God Karen is safe. Thank God she didn't hit anybody. Some of the footage actually said, the police said that her car was on fire. So thank God that there was responders there who could get to her and move her out of the car, because if she would have, been out there by herself, who knows if she ever would have gotten out of the car. It was a major car accident. So hopefully Karen is getting whatever help she needs. And, I'm not going to be the one to label her an alcoholic, but this was a very dangerous situation. Another dangerous situation was Benzino. I'm not going to play the video. I'm not quite sure how Lionel B got a video of Benzino talking about potentially, harming himself, but the video is out there and everybody is reposting it from Lionel B. I don't agree with that. I feel like somebody probably sold that to Lionel B, and I just don't think it's cool. But this is Benzino's response to the video of him threatening to do self-harm.
First and foremost, I just want to let everybody know that I'm okay. All right. Second of all, I want to let everybody know that that was a rehearsal for a Tubi movie. All right. My girl was helping me out. We was doing a script reading, and that was a rehearsal for a Tubi movie. That was a scene from a movie. Okay. I would never, ever put my hands on any woman. I've never done that in my life. That's for cowards. And I surely wouldn't do anything to hurt myself. So shout out to all the people that was concerned, but I'm okay. All right. Oh, yeah. And I also want to let Curtis know, good looking. Thanks, Curtis, for promoting me. Keep on posting me. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Hey, post this. You want to post something?
I don't know. I'm hoping that that's technically true, that it was just a rehearsal for a Tubi movie. I'm still not going to play it. If it was not a rehearsal, hopefully Benzino is getting the help he needs. And if it was a rehearsal, he probably should get rid of that girlfriend, because potentially having sold that to a blogger that's some diabolical shit. I don't know how else to say it. Moving right along. Bhad Bhabie. You guys knew her as the Catch Me Outside girl. She then turned into an OnlyFans girl. And I think at the height of her OnlyFans career, she had brought in somewhere around like $50 million in 1 year. So she has a lot of money. Recently, her Lamborghini truck was evading the police and crashed into a residential neighborhood. They said that it was her brother driving. So it's a lot of money. Apparently nothing has changed. We saw her posting her wounds from domestic violence a couple months ago. Then we saw her back with her alleged abuser. And now she is fighting Kourtney Kardashian's stepdaughter, Alabama Barker, over the abuser.
Where this really started from. So me and Levon get into it. We was drunk, and sometimes when we get drunk, we either fight night or fight all night. And we get physical, whatever. So
it's not you get physical or whatever. She has posted very, very graphic photos of her abuse at the hands of her baby daddy.
Me and Levon, we're drunk. We get into it. I up by calling Sosa. So I call
her ex-boyfriend
Sosa, and I'm like, yeah, we fighting, blah, 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 blah. Like, basically, like, come get me. So Levon, so me and Levon went to go lay down. I go to lay down with him. When I get in the bed, Sosa calls me. Levon answers my phone. It didn't say Sosa at the top or nothing. It was just a phone number. But Levon answers the phone, and you hear Sosa's voice saying, Danny, what's up? Or Danny, where you at? So I was the one that cheated first.
Cheating does not mean that in any way, shape, or form you deserve to get hit.
I cheated by calling Sosa from the jump. So after Levon answered the phone, he busted my lip, broke my phone. I tried to stop him from leaving, and when he was trying to close the door, I put my hand in the way. So he accidentally slammed my hand in the door. My hand was literally hanging.
Now, domestic violence on both sides is horrible. Men shouldn't be putting their hands on women, and women shouldn't be putting their hands on men. I have not seen a situation where what she did to him has been displayed, but we've seen her face all busted up. This is saddest at the deepest level. I don't like.
My teeth were loose. It was just a whole big thing. So I'm trying to wake E up, and I'm telling E, take me to the hospital. Meanwhile, the phone never hung up. The phone never hung up. So Sosa heard all this shit going on, right? So right after that, I'm trying to wake E up to take me to the hospital because my hand is literally like hanging.
There's really nothing more. She's going public because she's upset that he's talking to somebody else. I don't think that any of that even matters. This is disgusting. Hopefully somebody can get her removed from the situation before he does something that the hospital can't fix. This is toxic. She's too young. She's too, like, domestic violence knows no socioeconomic status, but if she wanted to get away and hire security at $50 million a year on OnlyFans, then she could. She's going to need to recognize that abuse is abuse, and that's not love. Let's move on to Larry Reid and TD Jakes. So I told you guys when TD Jakes decided to sue Dwayne Youngblood, a man who had gone on the Larry Reid channel to address claims of abuse from around maybe like 40 years ago. When the lawsuit was first filed, the first thing I said is, I feel like this is a warning shot to Larry Reid. By the time that Dwayne Youngblood had come on the channel, Larry Reid had already talked to multiple people, including Prophet Manasseh, about Larry Reid grooming him. They both said that there were more victims. They both said they had were in contact with Larry Reid's people. When I saw this lawsuit initially, and it said does 1 through 10, that let me know that Dwayne Youngblood was named, but more people would be named. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my allegedly banner up. But in my eyes, this is a direct warning shot to Larry Reid. It says, my following declaration filed on December 17, 2024. I make this supplemental declaration to transmit to this court true and correct transcripts of the podcast relevant to plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery. True and correct copies of the following documents are attached, and it is a Larry Reid interviews Dwayne Youngblood. The abused became the abuser. Plaintiff's brief in support on page 4 stating, in another podcast, the podcaster concedes that he often pays, and the podcaster would be Larry Reid, concedes that he often pays interviewees on his shows, and that to the extent they realize financial compensation for their grievances, the podcaster expects to be compensated. Plaintiff's brief in support of page 5 stating, more particularly, during the November 3rd podcast, Youngblood is asked by a guest whether anyone has reached out to him to pay him off. The podcaster interposes his own answer to the question by stating in sum and substance that he can answer that question for sure, responding in the positive. So you'll see that just like Jay-Z is doing with Tony Busby, they are now transposing the entire podcast and putting it as an exhibit. So I'm pretty sure Larry Reid does not want to be attached in this way. And again, this is just my opinion, but after reading this, it feels like it was a warning shot. And now I would not be surprised if we see Larry Reid is one of these does. It says discovery that is limited to a third-party subpoena seeking solely documents. A subpoena to be served on an individual that commands production of documents over a narrow time frame. A subpoena to be served on a aforesaid individual's business that also commands production of documents over a narrow time. So when we're talking discovery, we're not just talking about them using the footage. this could be text messages. This could be emails between not just Larry Reid, but not just between Dwayne and Larry Reid, but Larry Reid and his production team. And when they start doing discovery, you cannot delete anything. You can't go back and delete text messages. If you do, that could be talked about in court. It says relevant and factual procedural background. On November 25th, 2024, plaintiff filed a complaint in this matter, alleging that Dwayne Youngblood was liable and all defendants, including John Doe's 1 through 10, were liable for civil conspiracy to commit. Prior to instituting this proceeding on November 22nd, 2024, counsel for plaintiff contacted the attorney and that delivered a letter labeled as appearance letter, preservation notice, and offer of settlement, indicating that he represented Mr. Youngblood by telephone and left a voicemail to return the call. That was never returned. Once the complaint was filed by email dated November 25th, counsel contacted attorney Blackburn to inquire whether he would accept service on behalf of his client. So Tyrone Blackburn sent a demand letter after that TD Jakes stuff, the TD Jakes Dwayne Youngblood interview aired, to TD Jakes for $6 million. So now TD Jakes is trying to serve Youngblood, and they're trying to do it through who they believe is his attorney, which would be Tyrone Blackburn, the same guy who's done a lot of the original Diddy lawsuits. He responded to them saying, pound sand and to serve Mr. Youngblood. Now, I've never heard the term pound sand, but it doesn't sound like a legal term to me. By December 4th, efforts to serve Mr. Youngblood had been unsuccessful. Accordingly, an email exchange dated December 4, 2024 with attorney Blackburn, we inquired as to whether Mr. Blackburn had changed his position regarding waiver of service. In response, once again, attorney Blackburn refused to waive service, insisting that plaintiff serve Mr. Youngblood. Attorney Blackburn never stated whether he represented Mr. Youngblood for the purposes of the lawsuit. Let me see. Do we really need to get into this? Footnote. Yeah, we don't need to get into that one. Subsequently, plaintiff was able to effectuate service on defendant Youngblood on December 9th. The clerk of the court noted that the summons had been returned executed by plaintiff, and the defendant Youngblood was served in the late evening of December 4th. Defendant Youngblood's answer is due on December 26th. At this point, no attorney has filed a notice of appearance on behalf of defendant Youngblood, and Mr. Youngblood explicitly rejected an offer to accept more time to respond to the complaint. So they're saying, where's Tyrone Blackburn? Is he going to be defending him? Plaintiff submits that based on the exchanges with attorney Blackburn in the absence of any notice of appearance in this litigation on behalf of defendant Youngblood, reasonably speaking, we do not have opposing counsel with whom we can confer on the subject of this motion, and we do not anticipate defendant Youngblood to provide information at this juncture that would resolve the subject of this motion. Given the criminal background of defendant Youngblood and on information and belief, the prior background of his co-conspirators, again, they're taking indirect shots at Larry Reid. We submit that there is a very real danger that the information plaintiff seeks to identify John Doe's and provide a proper factual articulation in an amended complaint will not be preserved long enough to be available through normal discovery process. Basically, they're saying, we want everything from Larry Reid before he can delete it. Now, I'm not saying Larry Reid would delete it. I'm just saying it has been my opinion from the beginning, as somebody who has followed all the TD Jakes stuff, that he was eventually going to take a shot at Larry Reid. Now, Larry Reid has said that TD Jakes people has, reached out to him, but in what capacity, I'm not technically sure. You'd have to go to Larry's channel to find that out, but this sounds like a shot. And, just for a little background, again, when the anonymous email came out saying that TD Jakes was bent over on the motorcycle wearing a pink thong and holding a peach cobbler, I never ran that story but I talked about it after TD Jakes responded, because an anonymous email was not enough for me personally to really get down in the weeds of all that. But now that it's an actual lawsuit, and because there was an actual interview, we can talk about it. Here, a plaintiff asserts a prima facie claim for conspiracy to commit defamation. Plaintiff alleges that defendant Youngblood acted with others to publish and broadcast the false claim that Bishop Jakes groomed and sexually assaulted Youngblood on a podcast reaching over 100,000 persons, knowing that making such false claims on a podcast that reaches such a broad audience of listeners would harm Bishop Jakes. To wit, a person believed to be acting in concert with defendant Youngblood, that is, the podcaster identified in the complaint as co-conspirator number one, falsely claimed in sum and substance that Bishop Jakes had engaged in settlement discussions with Youngblood regarding his claims, thereby trying to give a patina of veracity to defendant Youngblood's accusation. No such settlement discussion ever took place. The first podcast occurred on October 28, 2024. In an effort to maximize their efforts, they launched a second broadcast on November 3rd, 2024, where they attempted to more clearly target the false claim of sexual assault against Bishop Jakes by, in sum and substance, stating that Bishop Jakes restrained defendant Youngblood and forcibly kissed him, as opposed to the first podcast where defendant Youngblood alleges that they embraced at the end of hours-long, wide-ranging conversation about faith and life and parents. Now, to be clear, the second one said that forcibly kissed. The first one said attempted to kiss. They left that out in this. Plaintiff, but you know, attorneys do that. Attorneys do that. Also, if TD Jakes is saying this is false, sometimes people, I don't know, because to be honest with you, when I watched the interview, I did not really, you know, when I think sexual assault, I think an attempted kiss, I did not know what that meant. Did he grab you, hold you, you know, touch your body? What did he do? From what it initially sounded like, it was a hug and then an attempted kiss, and then there was nothing else. So that on its face was kind of like strange to me. I remember him saying he doesn't know how he got away, but he didn't actually detail an assault. When I talked to an attorney, they said that doesn't constitute an assault. And I said, well, he also said that he called him from a bathtub and propositioned him for sex. And I was like, I don't know if that's an assault. And the attorney said, technically, it's not. So then when I heard this part where he demanded $6 million, I was absolutely floored. Plaintiff alleges that the primary motivation for these acts is money. The defendant demanded $6 million, or in fact, the podcast, 2 of which had already been produced, would continue. How much more would there be to continue if you told your story? What else happened? In yet a third podcast that aired mere hours after the complaint and this action was filed on November 25th, 2024, the podcaster admitted that he had seen at least one portion of the $6 million extortion letter sent to plaintiff, and further admitted that he knew about the letter. Larry Reid, Bishop T.D. Jakes goes after Dwayne Youngblood. Moreover, the podcaster states that he knew the letter was being emailed to Bishop Jakes. Bishop T.D. Jakes goes after Dwayne Youngblood. In another podcast, the podcaster concedes. Why is he calling this man the podcaster and not Larry Reid? In another podcast, the podcaster concedes that he often pays interviewees on his show, and that to the extent they realize financial compensation for their grievances, the podcaster expects to be compensated. Now, that I did not know. Moreover, in the earlier November 3rd, 2024 podcast, the podcaster admits that he has knowledge of monies that might be paid to defendant Youngblood as a result of his interviews. More particularly, during the November 3rd podcast, Youngblood is asked by a guest whether anyone has reached out to him to pay him off. The podcaster interposes his own answer to the question by stating, in sum and substance, that he can answer that question for sure, responding in the positive. At this point, plaintiff submits that we have reasonable basis to believe the podcaster has knowledge of defendant Youngblood's plan to obtain money by making false statements against plaintiff, including knowledge about the $6 million extortion, about the $6 million extortion letter sent to plaintiff. B, some financial compensation was provided to Youngblood by the podcaster to participate in the podcast interviews where the false statements were launched. Further, on information and belief, plaintiff submits that there was a plan between and among defendant Youngblood and his co-conspirators, including the podcaster, to share in the anticipated extortion payment once made. Moreover, the podcaster was able to realize other channels of financial gain by launching the series of podcasts related to defendant Youngblood's false statement against plaintiff. The November 25th, 24 podcast alone, by the podcaster's own admission on the live show, attracted 5,600 viewers to the YouTube channel. At the end of the show, the podcaster requested that those 5,600 persons make a donation to his show if they enjoyed the update. A banner appeared on the screen advertising that such donations could be made through a wide number of mechanisms, including PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. The identity of John Doe's is essential to efficiently advancing this matter. The identity of John Doe's is essential to efficiently advancing this matter. Without the requested early discovery described herein, plaintiff submits that he will be unreasonably delayed in amending the complaint to include other culpable parties. Risks irritative conferences with the court once the parties are later added during traditional formal discovery, suffers the burden along with other litigants of potentially avoidable disjointed motions initially challenging the complaint, which in turn will likely disrupt the orderly flow of the case management plan in this case. In other words, they want Larry Reid's emails, they want his text messages, they want his phone records. Y'all can put in the comments, if you're watching this on the replay, do you think that Larry Reid is going to be named in this suit as a co-conspirator? Argument. Good cause exists in this instance. As a threshold matter, plaintiff deserves a prompt adjudication of his claims against the defendant, which necessarily begins with an ability to identify the persons involved with the defendant, Youngblood, in his effort to systematically defame Bishop Jakes in exchange for a payoff and other related financial gains. Plaintiff has already developed some information that would support factual articulation of at least one co-conspirator, but requires additional specific information that would support elaboration of the conspiracy claim, including the mechanics of the co-conspiratorial conduct, thus bringing to light an even clearer picture of the behavior at issue in this case. This particular need directly supports the administration of justice in this case. What if co-conspirator number 2 is Manasseh, and they're trying to get to the phone records for Manasseh or any of the alleged other people that were supposed to be coming forward for the TD Jakes documentary? Wow. We don't need to go through the rest of this. They're not playing. They're definitely not playing with Youngblood. And I wonder if they'll even name Tyrone Blackburn as a co-conspirator and go the same route that Jay-Z is going with Busby. It's getting hot in here, y'all. And I told you guys there's a paradigm shift with Jay-Z suing Busby, Nicki Minaj suing Nosy Ho, Cardi B suing Tasha K, Dwayne Youngblood and TD Jakes, but now they're trying to name Larry Reid Live. There's a paradigm shift, and we're witnessing it in real time. I'm going to be watching. Definitely like the video. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, we just hit our goal of 200K. We have a new goal now of 250. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I'm going to be in this comment section. So if you're watching this on the replay, definitely put how you feel. If you feel like Larry Reid is innocent of this, put that too. Larry Reid has a really big fan base, and I'll be interested to see as this case takes shape if they go on the tack, because I have personally seen when, I didn't really cover the whole TG Jakes being bent over in the thong thing, but even at that point, people from the Potter's house were coming to me, and I'm like, I'm only talking about what TG Jakes responded to. And then, they kind of like, it kind of dissipated. But I can imagine the Potter House people and the Larry Reid subscribers, I see a clash coming, especially if both parties go on the attack. So we'll see. We'll be looking. Y'all have a good morning. This was an unexpected video, but so much happened after at last night that I was like, I gotta come to you guys and give you this. I haven't even done my Diddy video. Hopefully before I get on the plane, I can put that out so it can be released today as well. If not, I will see you guys later. Have a good one.